a town with no trolls, but instead, the actual creepiest people that you've ever seen, surrounded by goblins about as scary as Ewoks. No, seriously, the food is supposed to look like that. Goblins that want to eat people, but are vegetarians, so they have to turn them into plants, and then eat them. One of the best actresses ever. Also, she's a druid. And a lady. Troll 2. What's up, jerks? Today, we're going to do something a little different. Today I'm going to talk about a movie that I fucking love. This movie is so good. And I know what you're thinking, Alex, you can't play movies. I know, it's not a game. I get it. To all of my 3 people that watch me consistently. I know. Troll 2, one of the absolute worst movies ever made. But it has the perfect line of terrible and amazing. Terribly amazing? Unbearable? Sure. So, I watch this movie probably twice a year, and I laugh at it every time. Any opportunity I have to show someone this movie brings me great joy. Because holy shit, watching people react to this movie is a special thing. Because this movie is so fantastic. This movie revolves around the regular, boring, paper plate, generic family. The Waits. There's Michael, Joshua, Diana, Holly, with also Uncle Seth. The family is going to a small farming community because Michael, the oldest paper plate, has a huge boner for farms for some reason. Joshua's being read a story by Grandpa telling him about goblins. Not Troll 2, not Troll Pig in the City. Telling him about goblins that eat people after they turn them into plants. They can transform into people. So you get all this information from this little stupid snippet. They feed you food, and it tastes great apparently, even though it looks like hot shit. And that's how they turn you. Once you start just leaking green, that's how it starts. But then you're interrupted. God damn it, Mom.
Grandpa Seth has been gone for more than 6 months now.
And then what? Grandpa's not there. Goblins in this movie are vegetarians. So they feed you the green shit, or there's the shit with green in it. I don't know why it's always green. A goblin is a greedy, grotesque creature from European folklore. A vegetarian is a person that doesn't eat meat. Side effects for goblin is stealing and eating people's faces. Side effects for vegetarians are the illusionment of being better than everyone around you. And the need to tell everyone, too. Instead of a goblin just walking up to you and being like, hey, I'm going to eat your face, and then they have to trick you into eating their green shit so you turn into a plant, so then they can eat you. And the food, special. That just looks like your drunk Aunt Mary made it for St. Patrick's Day. And she's like, here you go, boys, eat up. And you're like, thanks, Aunt Mary. And then you look at your brother and you're like, hey, should we tell her it's Christmas? Nope, you just let it fly. So once they poison you and let you know how much better their lifestyle is than yours, you just profusely just shoot green out of your forehead. And then you start turning into a plant. Back to the family. Holly is working out, like, furiously. Her boyfriend Elliot sneaks into her room, makes no noise, scares the shit out of her. She knees him in the dick. He then replies, I'm just gonna play the clip because I can't do it justice.
He trying to turn me into a homo?
If my father discovers you here, he'd cut off your little nuts and eat them.
So Holly's mad at Elliot because he always hangs out with his friends. So he's gonna make up for it and go on this family terrible vacation. Cut to them driving in the car. No Elliot! Holly's upset. And the mom just starts like, you learn really fast that the mom is a fucking lunatic. Everyone starts yelling. Crazy mom starts yelling.
Joshua, start singing. Come on, sing that song I like so much.
Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream.
Joshua starts singing Row, Row, Row Your Boat. A song nobody likes. So they're heading to the mystical town of Nilbog. Population of like under 30. Nilbog sounds like a great place to live and have a farm. Then Joshua's stomach upset because he ate something bad.
I don't feel good.
I know, we've all had Arby's. Turns out it's a dream and some foreshadowing. But then he wakes up. Everything's fine. So there's a hitchhiker on the road that looks like Grandpa. Oh my god, but Grandpa's dead. Oh my god, Grandpa's hitchhiking, no way! So Josh gets out of the car, runs towards Grandpa. He is Grandpa. He says, "What are you doing here?" Blah. And then when the car backs up, gets to Joshua, he just instantly turns back into a dirty person, and it's just like this. So they finally get to the house in Nilbog. Finally. And the family is just standing outside waiting for them. And God, are they creepy.
You're late.
They're like, "Hey, there's so much food, eat it up, dipshits." The paper plates are like, "Sure." So they go inside. There's a whole spread on the table, just waiting. Room temp and everything. God, Gordon Ramsay would be
The hell is that?
furious at this shit.
It looks like a can of dog food.
I want him to yell at the goblins.
Fuck, mate. Is that how they're always served?
And then it just cuts to the goblin cook being like, "I thought it was good." They're all just about to eat or drink something, like it's to their face. And then they freeze frame because Joshua sees Grandpa by the window. Grandpa's like, "You have to stop him from eating. I'll give you 30 seconds. Freeze frame. It's way more than 30 seconds. Not only is Grandpa dead, and then coming back, just like, "Hey, I'm gonna go step out and get some snacks. Need anything, Jesus? No? Okay." Not only can he just leave and come back to the real world, he can go to the real world and use magic. So, I want a prequel that's Grandpa being a fucking wizard. But anyway, he freezes frame, and he's like, "You have to stop them from eating the food." How do you do that? It's already to their faces. So, Joshua takes his sweet ass time. He takes his sweet ass time getting to the table. Looking like... He stands up on the chair, and he goes to pee on the food. My question is, the drink was like at Dad's face. How did he get that? If you're going to put a drink to your face, and you're like right here, and then someone just started peeing over the food in front of you, wouldn't you still like drink a little and then be like, "Ah!" You'd be like this, you're like, "Drinking? Well, mine." Seriously? It was like at his mouth. Holly has the corn with like the weird blue butter just at her face, just like... My question is, did Josh pee in his dad's mouth? Then it cuts to them throwing out all the food, yelling at Josh. You stopped the one meal from happening, and all you have to do is pee on every meal, and you got this. Dad yells at him.
And you can't piss on hospitality.
You think he's gonna beat his ass. He does not beat his ass. But he
Tighten
tightens
my
his
belt
belt
to
for
hunger
hunger pains. They don't like try at all to get other food. Like they don't check the house for food until the next morning. They don't like try to find a McDonald's and get a Shamrock Shake or something. They just give up immediately. Elliot and his friends are driving an RV to Nilbog. They also don't know how to high five.
Yeah.
They arrive in Nilbog, or like just outside. They park just outside of Nilbog. They're in just a creepy forest with one path. So Elliot convinced all the friends to go, saying that there's a bunch of girls there. They're all like, "Really?" Family trip is supposed to be a month long. So they're like, "Hey, let's go for a month. We don't have lives or obligations or anything like that. Let's go." Arnold takes 2 steps out of the RV and just sees some girl running in the forest, and he's like, "Oh my god, guys. Never mind, I'll take care of this." So she's running furiously, little green on her face. He tackles her. He's like, "What's wrong?" She's being chased by the goblin. And he's like, "These guys," and she's genuinely terrified. And he's like, "Nah, I got this." He grows the biggest pair of balls, walks up to them. They all are obviously not people, except they're people in costumes. They're in burlap sacks and Halloween masks. They also have spears and shit, and they're chasing after a woman. Why would you just be like, I'm gonna walk up to them and be like, you guys, I'm watching you guys. You guys better scram, okay? Tip your waiters." And then he just walks back to her, he's like, "We're fine." And then one of them throws a spear at him, and his balls disappear, because he just got speared. So then they're like, "Oh no, let's run." Now, Arnold's on the same page. They find a church. In the church, which is obviously where they spent their budget, because there's so much dry ice, there's so much smoke. So their budget went to making this church smoky. And introducing the the best fucking character in the movie.
This is my house.
I don't even have to say her name because she says it at least 3 times in this movie. And you do not forget her scenes because she is a magical woman. She is a druid. She's the queen of the goblins. She is their mama.
I am Credence Leonor Gielgud.
There's a shiny rock in there. That's apparently where the goblins get their power. God, is she magical. The kids are like, we need help. Help me.
Nearest hospital?
Well, she's like,
There is no hospital in Nilbog.
we self-medicate. No, she's like, we have broth.
This broth.
Broth. So she walks them over 2 smoky cups of broth. Just like, here you go, kids. So they both drink the broth. Girl immediately spits it out, starts just acting up a storm. She's like, oh my god. Oh. Oh. And then for some reason decides to act up the stairs. And Arnold this whole time is just like,
What's wrong? What's wrong with her?
Creedence is like, drink your broth. Arnold's like, I can't move. Why can't I move? There's gotta be a logical reason for me not being able to move right now. So the other girl is upstairs acting up a storm, and her face starts leaking green. She then lays down. She then turns into a fucking plant. So she turns into a lettuce wrapped burger from Red Robin. She's just bam, Red Robin yum. You get some fries with that too. Or you can get stuff out of salad, it's fine. And then the goblins come, start jamming on her, just start fucking eating. And then Arnold slowly puts 2 and 2 together, and I cannot do the scene justice, so play.
They're eating her. And then they're going to eat me. Oh my god!
It's one of the best scenes in the movie. The acting is beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. It's so good. Cut back to the family, where it's morning, breakfast time. So they didn't eat yesterday because Josh pissed all over the food, and they just gave up and went to bed like, well, guess we're not eating tonight. They look in the fridge and all the cabinets, no food. How did no one look last night? Dad's like, alright Josh, let's go to the fucking store. And Josh was like, alright, I guess I have to go because I peed on everything. So then they venture out to Nilbog. Nilbog is literally just a little town with a street sign that just says Nilbog. They go to the general store, there's a sign that says they're at the sermon, we'll be back. So Michael sits down in a chair, and it's like, vegetable book. I gotta fucking study this shit, because I'm gonna be a farmer. Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. Farming! And he falls asleep. Either because he bored himself to sleep with his farming book, or because he didn't eat at all. Probably 2, but I want to go with 1. So then Joshua runs up to the car side view mirror, and is like,
Grandpa!
and tries to summon Grandpa. Doesn't work, but then he notices a shocking detail.
Nilbog! It's Goblin spelled backwards!
Goblin backwards. I just flipped the name. That's some good writing there. Josh just skateboard away. Nilbog's Goblin backwards. Let me go skateboard and do some kickflips. So then he goes like 8 feet away, and that's where the sermon's taking place. So then he sneaks into the sermon. It's all the townspeople, with the preacher just yelling like, ah, meat is bad. Go. And then he just starts naming meat products. And he's like, sausages. And they're all like, oh God. Oh. But then Josh sneaks upstairs, very not quietly I might add, puts his skateboard down, just so it could, make the story go forward. So Joshua sneaks around after leaving his skateboard there, clearly not on the thing. It's like it's hanging off. Like you see that. There's no way he doesn't. So he runs around the corner, finds an already big hole, feels the need to push the piece of wood up more, even though he can clearly already see. Also, to the person sitting like, no, meat's bad. There's no way he didn't see something like up here. Just move a little. Because Josh puts his fucking whole face in that hole. And it's like, oh my God. Nilbog is gobbling backwards. And he's right there. There's no way you don't see it. No matter how much you're like, oh man, meat. Oh, it just really, really bums me out. He's right there. He's like, oh, he's literally like I'm poking his face right now. Josh feels the need to move that piece of wood even more, and yet somehow, even though it's like a different room, it's moving the wood by the skateboard. So then the skateboard falls down. Oh man. And then everyone knows that Josh is upstairs. But then immediately they see him and a hand grabs him. 0 seconds. Why? Because all the preacher had to do was do this. And grab his face. They whip up Joshua some Nilbog ice cream. Fresh from your drunk aunt. Thanks, Mary. Nilbog ice cream. And it's just slop A plus slop B. Raisins? I don't know what the fuck those are. They look like olives. Just when you think that he gets fed the food and then the movie ends. No. Michael hears Joshua screaming, runs in and is like,
What are you doing to my son?
I was reading veggie books. And they're just like, oh.
We were giving him some ice cream.
And he's like, no, they're goblins. And you're like, what an imagination. And Michael notices that the family whose house they're staying at
Mr. Miss Presents.
is still in the town. And he's like, hey, why didn't you,
What are you doing here?
why didn't you go? You're supposed to be at my house by now. You could take your time. Get some Shamrock shakes, some other stuff. Go to Starbucks. Just sit down, sip a latte. They're just like,
We had car trouble.
well, we'll be leaving in a bit. And Michael's like, okay, cool.
Son and I must be leaving now.
We're gonna go now. Back to RV time. Generic friend Drew wakes up and is like, there's no anything in this RV. So he wakes up Elliot and other guy who were just sleeping together. Which, I mean, it happens. Crim space, multiple boys. Hot action. So he's like, I'm gonna go run to the town and get some food. Even though they're in an RV, they could just drive to town and they all could go while they still sleep, but I guess that would make sense. And so he starts running down path A of Creepy Forest, gets spotted by a cop. Cop's like, hey boy, why don't you step in the car? I'll give you a ride to town. You'll get there faster. Save some of the energy of those legs. And he's like, oh, thanks, mister. And he gives him a green sandwich, extra green. And he's like, thanks. And for some reason, the general store, there's just a bunch of dudes just standing there like this. And in front of just that building. There's no one else in front of any other building. He goes into the store and gets some free Nilbog milk. And he's like, oh, it's free? Wow. Then he leaves and he gets eye-fucked by every single person there. And they're like, your one friend. And he's like,
Arnold?
And you're like, yeah, Arnold.
Said to meet him in the house. That looks like an old church.
And he's like, alright, I guess I'll go. I got free milk. So he goes. Of course, he's like, cool, let's go. Free milk in hand. That is room temperature and only going to get warmer because I'm running around in the sun holding it. Goes to take the milk. He sips it. Oh, it's curdled. What the F, guys? How could you leave milk out like that? No wonder why it's free. So he gets to the chapel and is like, I'm really not feeling good. So he falls asleep on a pole for a little bit. And then he sees Plant Arnold and he's like, oh my god, hey buddy, how you doing? Doesn't really react. He rips a little wood shit off Arnold's face. And Arnold is so calm. Like, it's unsettling. He's like, hey.
Get me out of here, Drew. Just get me out of here.
And he's not like, bah! Like any normal person would be. No, he's like, can you drag the pot? And well, we both scram. Even though my legs are trees, look at him! He starts dragging the pot, and he's like, I'm really tired. And then Credence comes in. Hello? Oh my god. And just and he flies across the room, and then she's like, ooh, I'm going to overact. So she does that, and boy howdy, she nails it. She then breaks out her trusty chainsaw. Which is something I'd imagine a druid would never have. That seems like the opposite of something they'd have. She's like, I'm going to teach you a lesson. Chops his legs off. He's just like, oh. So on the way home, they saw Elliot talking with Holly, so they picked them up too. So Michael and Joshua finally get back to the house, and there's so many cars there, what's happening? And then creepy mom's like,
Oh, Michael!
hey, they're all here. Oh, that hurt my face. I don't know how she did it for a whole movie. Oh, God. So all the townspeople are there that were just at the sermon. They all beat Michael and Josh back to the house. All of them. And the preacher's just like, hey, misunderstanding, my pal.
What a pleasure to see you again, Mr. Wade.
So they're having a terrible party. All of them are just sitting there like, hey, we all have food. So they sit everyone down and are just like, hey, eat some food, eat some food. This is song number 2 in the movie. Eat some food. They're all just sitting in a row, facing out, and they give everyone food, and they're just like... Josh goes upstairs. He doesn't like family parties, so he goes to summon Grandpa.
Grandpa!
And then he gets attacked by a goblin. So then song number 1 plays, and then Grandpa comes, saves the day. Grandpa comes equipped with an axe, a fire extinguisher, and a Molotov cocktail. Uses the axe once. Drops it because I guess he needs to run faster. Grandpa's plan is, hey, we're gonna torch the house, but if things get too crazy, I brought this fire extinguisher. Cause safety first, Joshua. After the goblin's hand gets cut off by Grandpa's axe, it turns out it's Credence. Oh my god. So Credence is missing a hand and super acting right now. Oh my god. She is yelling up a fucking storm right now, girl. She's like, Stonehenge magic stone, give me your power. Gets power back. That, I don't know, I guess she lost for some reason. None of this makes sense. I know, I get it. She turns around and is like, hot. I guess. They pretty much just like wiped her face, all the white shit off. Her hair's down now. Oh my god, she's a woman. What, this whole time? To go then find the one remaining RV boy. So he's just sitting there by himself, not concerned at all where everyone else is. Arnold's been gone for a day and a half. Other friend, a full day. No concern, not like, I wonder when anyone's coming back. He's just sitting there watching TV, just like, Mountain Dew and TV, is there anything better? He changes the channel, and this song number 3 of the movie plays. God, it's terrible. And it's Credence, the new Credence, walking down the one road. He's like, whoa, lady! And she's like, I'm not a TV program, I'm real. And he's like, what? Does Mountain Dew deceive me? So he goes at the trailer. The music is still playing out loud. It's not just from the TV. So there's like a boombox offset that's just going, she's like, hey, let's get all weird and creepy. And for some reason, this whole time, she's holding a piece of corn on the cob. It's very dangerous. They go into the RV to... Then starts one of the weirdest scenes ever, but the way it ends, the best. You ever heard of corn on the cobbing? You're laying down eating corn on the cob, and I'm laying on top of you eating corn on the cob. But it's the same corn on the cob. Not a thing, sorry. He's like...
Actually, I like popcorn.
And it's not popcorn, it's a corn on the cob. Then they start cobbing. Fucking ridiculous. He kills him with popcorn. You never see him again. Grandpa and Joshua somehow sneak out of the house, even though people are everywhere. They sneak around back, and they're ready. Grandpa's like, yeah, let's torch this shit.
Fire. Cut it out, kid.
Priest goes, grabs the thing, and is like, I banish you. He casts like unsummon on Grandpa. Grandpa is like, ah! So then Grandpa is like, no! And then before Grandpa dies, he casts lightning, breaks the Molotov, sets the priest on fire. So let's break this down. Grandpa is communicating with Josh from beyond the grave. Grandpa died 6 months ago, as established in the beginning of the movie. Grandpa then constantly talks to Josh. Josh sees him, interacts with him, is able to hug him. And then Grandpa gets murdered in front of Joshua. The party stops. No clapping, no more sitting there staring at them. Luckily, the fire extinguisher is there, so Michael puts out the burning guy and is like, what is that? Wow, I don't remember that guy being that ugly. Is that a troll? Nope, it's a goblin. And immediately they're like, he was one of us. So they're like, alright, let's all creep back in the house. Joshua was right. Let's go in the house and not talk about any of this. Deal? Deal. So the goblins just stay outside and they're like, we're outside, and they're like, we're inside. Cut to nighttime. Still outside, we're still inside. So the family's like, what do we do? What a time for Elliot to join the family, am I right?
Do something, Elliot, please!
I don't know what to do.
Joshua's like, Well, I need Grandpa.
Need Grandpa Sam here!
Every answer to every problem in this movie is Grandpa. And they're like, we should have a seance.
By holding a seance, maybe?
They have a seance. Grandpa's voice, Joshua gets transported away. Teleported. Magic. This movie is about magic, people. Nobody knows. So he gets teleported away. He's in Credence's lair with the Stonehenge and Gramps. So Joshua's getting attacked by the gobs. Gramps is like, hey,
You can only take out the contents when you really need it.
here's this backpack filled with one item that, when you need it most, use it. When this happens, goblins start actually attacking the house. They're like, hey, let's go inside. So the family's like, not kung fu fighting. Even I feel like you could just punch one of them in the face and they go down. They're short. Or like kick them in their like huge soft bellies. Yeah, I don't know. It just, this movie makes no sense. So then the family gets surrounded by the gobs. Then they get summoned by Credence. And then they all have to leave because Stonehenge Magic Stone is under attack. Joshua is now surrounded by gobs. So he breaks out his trusty one-time use.
A double-decker bologna sandwich!
Grandpa gives him literally a double-decker bologna sandwich. And he eats it and they're all like, no, he's a meat eater. Then Grandpa's like, put your hands on the stone. That's how you defeat them. Because Joshua's corrupted by bologna, which is the fakest meat in the world. But not the point of the movie. He puts his hand on Stonehenge Magic Stone. Trademark. Then the family shows up. They were guided by Grandpa. Joshua's like, oh, everyone put your hands on it. That'll help, right? They put their hands on it. And then everybody dies. That's it. Credence does her finest acting. Her makeup changes again. Everybody dies. Supercut to their home. Just like that, they're home. Movie magic, guys. They're home. Elliot's there. They all look like they've seen some shit because they have. So Holly, Elliot go to Elliot's. Michael just sits in the car and is like, and Mom and Joshua go in the house. Mom's eating an apple like she's never eaten, but it makes sense because she hasn't, technically the whole family has not eaten in at least 2 days. So Mom's eating an apple like, no. Josh goes upstairs and then he starts to hear things, goes to check on Mom, and oh my god, she spilled green ketchup all over the goddamn shower again. So then Josh goes downstairs and goblins are eating Mom on the table. And then they're like, hey Josh, you want some?
Want some, Joshua?
And that's how the movie ends. This movie was originally produced under the title Goblins, but companies thought no one would care about a movie called Goblins, so they're like, hey, remember that movie Troll that everyone really liked? Let's make it Troll 2. We don't have to try it all. And we could just get that fan base to go see this piece of shit. And, bonus, no connections. So with the combined efforts of a language barrier and producers that cared more about saving money and cutting costs than making an actual, genuinely entertaining product, you have this movie. This film was shot in Utah, 1989. 89. Not 81, 89. And there was an actual reason for the whole vegetarian themes. Apparently the director's wife, her friends became vegetarians, and apparently they were like snooty and it really pissed her off. So they're like, hey, let's make this movie and really stick it to the vegetarians. Great job, guys. Troll 2 producers 1, Vegetarian 0. I really do love this movie. Being a fan of so many terrible movies because of mostly Joel, Mike, and the robots. I've been watching terrible shit forever. There's just every once in a while you get this one movie that's just so terrible that it's fucking great and it's just entertaining. It usually only happens when people don't like try for it. Like if it's bad on purpose, that's like a different level. This is terrible but amazing at the same time. Unintentional. Someone wanted to make something great. They made a huge pile of shit, but it was still entertaining, but not for the reasons they wanted. The costumes for the goblins, not the trolls, because there were no trolls in this movie. They were burlap sacks for the body, and just Halloween masks. Just like crappy Halloween masks. In 2007, they did a Nilbog invasion, so they pretty much redressed the town in Utah up like Nilbog again. So they put up the one sign. No, they did more than that. They also did like screening of the movie. They had the cast. They did like panels and shit. There was a documentary made about this movie that is amazing. Joshua, from the movie, as an adult, pretty much talking about how it got its like cult following, because it's so terrible it's great. It's a fucking fantastic documentary. If you like Troll 2 even a little, watch the documentary. It'll make you appreciate Troll 2 so much more. Just all the little shit they cover in it. Finally, I want to leave you with this. The store owner in the movie, I didn't play any of his scenes on purpose because I saved him for this. The store owner in this movie, Don Packard, a man with zero acting skills who was on a day trip. He was cast and played the role as a shopkeeper, and he later said that he smoked an enormous amount of marijuana and he had no idea what was happening, and none of what he was doing was acting. He was not acting. He was just so fucking stoned. So I'm gonna play you all of his major clips right now because it makes it so much better when you know this little nugget of gold. He is a national treasure.
Can I help you?
Coffee.
There's no coffee here in Nilbog. It's the devil's drink.
Eggs. Bacon.
Are you crazy, boy? We're vegetarians here in Nilbog. Didn't you know that? Here's some Nilbog milk. Special milk. High in vitamin content. Here is free.
Free?
Of course it's free. We love tourists here in Nilbog. Try some, boy. And have some of your friends drink some also.
Thank you.
Do you feel all right?
Alright, jerks, thanks for watching. I know this one was a little longer, but, we'll see you jerks later.